back to the show.
Welcome back. This is No Dekorum with AJ.
Daniel. So, did you want to start with a story?
Let's start with Colorado.
Colorado. What do we have?
Oh, Colorado. The early voting is up by 2,400% already.
That's an extreme number. Who does it favor? Do they know?
They don't know that yet, but 300,000 people have already voted.
When was the first day for them? Was it yesterday?
It started, I think, on Wednesday. Yeah, I think so. Oh, Tuesday. I'm not sure.
Someone's motivated. The question is,
yeah.
who is it, right? Who is it? I think we're seeing that kind of nationwide. You're seeing kind of record people coming out to vote. Yeah,
there were long lines in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Already.
It looks like Cornyn, I know this is the Senate race, but Cornyn and Hager are very close. They're almost, it's a competitive race. Not that she's going to win, but it is close. They're only a few points apart.
Only by, 10 points?
I thought they were less than that. I was looking at 538 earlier.
Oh, okay.
It was like 4 or 5. That's interesting. It shouldn't be that close.
No, it should not be. I mean, not for Cornyn.
Not for Cornyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing this in a lot of places, and I do wonder. They keep talking about a landslide, and you wonder if there's some merit to that because these numbers are out of control. You know, like Colorado is one example, but it's happening really all over the place.
Yeah, it's already seeing people, really motivated for either one. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're for Biden or for Trump. You are. I heard people there, lining up for Trump also.
I would say it's either for or against Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for Biden or not.
Well, that's true.
The enthusiasm.
Yeah. Let me correct that. Yeah. It's for or against.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's cleaning up in most places, and I think we've seen at the national polling at least, it's really not even close.
Do you think Cory Gardner will be reelected though?
Colorado.
He's one of them that's on the borderline right now.
I think Trump is hurting most people. If you're not in a red state, you're probably going to get hurt by his presidency. There's too many negatives, right, to run on against the Republicans. So he may be done.
Well, it won't hurt my feelings. That's for sure.
We're gonna be just fine. The day after, I'll sleep fine that night, and I'll have no problems the next day. So I guess the important states are still going to be, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan.
Yeah.
They all look pretty good. I mean, Wisconsin looks good for Biden. I think it's up 8 points there. Pennsylvania, suburbs, they're going to break heavy for Biden. In most places, rural is going to be Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like California or Texas,
Yeah.
California rural areas are Republican.
Probably the ones who most need some kind of, if the Democrats would behave like progressives, right? They would be the ones that would most be in need of that kind of help. And
yeah, only if you go in a debate and not talk about Republicans, you'll be all right.
Yeah, we don't need to hear how many Republicans are voting for you.
Yeah, if you just talk to your people, say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we are for.
Yeah.
Not just against. I mean, you can't just...
Yeah, give an affirmative, kind of a case. You can make that case. It's a good case. I think Trump made it in 2016, and it worked well for him.
Oh, he did a great job.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know you're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is real tough. You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42, and you're at 3. So
I mean, he stand there and told everybody, "Hey, all these bozos,
all these bozos." He pulled the Bernie Sanders card.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, but it was successful and.
It was very successful.
But on the other hand, you have Biden doing nothing, absolutely nothing on this election cycle, and he's still coming out pretty monstrous leads.
Well, I don't think it's if he was in normal election cycle like in 2008,
Yeah.
he would have been out a long time
would've
ago.
been out a long time
I
ago.
mean, just like he was out a long time ago.
He was. Yeah, this is not a normal cycle.
Yeah.
Uniquely abnormal because of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be this way.
I mean, this was a perfect storm for Biden.
Yeah. Trump could have run. Again, it's not a foregone conclusion. Trump could still pull this out, but he could have run away with this campaign, this election, very easily.
All he had to do is just keep his mouth shut.
That's right. Do what Biden's doing right now. Keep his mouth shut. Although, did you see the town hall? Either one?
No, I did not want to waste my time.
I didn't watch it. I did see the reviews on it. People were pretty impressed by Biden. They said they were in a Zen-like state because he could answer questions like a human being.
What, he stayed alive?
He stayed alive. I didn't say life support, but he was. He stayed alive. He was. He didn't drool. But yeah, a little. They said civility. A little civility, and reminded them that people can be human beings. So
I mean, that's the thing that people are, craving for is civility. I mean, it's just
not economic stimulus.
I mean, it's just amazing. People are just asking for a little bit of decorum.
A little decorum. And we're asking for no decorum. We're asking for less decorum. Yeah, look, people who don't follow politics that closely, right? They see the news, they see the outburst, and a lot of people get uncomfortable. They get turned off by that. It doesn't seem like a president should behave that way. Now, do they know the policies?
I have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
They
I
just
mean,
see-
even I don't know what Biden is for.
No, I don't either. I don't know the affirmative case for Biden except,
No.
yeah.
The only thing I know is nothing fundamentally is going to change.
Yeah.
So
And there you go. I guess that's his case.
that's his case right there.
I'm not sure what he meant, though. I mean, from behaviorally speaking, is he going to behave like Trump? Is that how? What does he mean by nothing's going to change?
Well, he's not going to stop feeling his hands, I guess. I don't know.
He's not going to keep his hands to himself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll keep them in his pocket. Maybe he'll. Who knows? We don't know. But there's always a possibility with him that he's pushed by the other side. I mean, there's no guarantees, but I don't know what kind of I don't know how easily he's swayed by public opinion or the people around him. It's often said of Trump that the last person who speaks to him, that's how he makes his decisions. The last person. So I don't know how Biden does his decision making.
Trump is the last actually pundit on Fox News speaks to him. That's what his opinions are.
That's right. So I don't know. If you get the right people in the room, maybe if Biden's like that, it's possible.
Biden, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about him. All I know is that you've got to push him. I mean, you've got to be on the progressive side. You've got to push him to the policies that you want. And maybe he's thinking of legacy. Maybe he wants to make a difference. Maybe he thinks he'll only last one term. He says, "No, let me go big." Right?
Well, the real people that are talking the other day, my wife told me that people at her job thinking that he's gonna probably die in his first term, and they're gonna make Kamala Harris the first woman president. So
I think that's a reasonable expectation.
Yeah.
I really do.
And their worry is that after that we're gonna get somebody worse than Trump, because still, majority of the people are still,
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Well, listen. So she's a chameleon, right? We've seen her go back
Yeah.
and forth on Medicare for all and things like that. But she could, adopt progressive stances as president.
She's the most progressive vice president ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
If
says a
she's
lot.
elected.
If she's elected. I mean, she does rank pretty high as far as progressives in the Senate, or as far as the most liberal, I should say. But then again, what does that say? Because the Senate is conservative. The Democrats, they're pretty
Yeah,
conservative.
even Democrats are,
So,
somewhere in the middle. Not
Yeah.
not even in the middle, but they're center right.
yeah, center right, for
Yeah.
sure. So calling her very liberal, I don't know what that means.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. I guess you got to look at it in context, and then maybe that's it. Maybe compared to Dianne Feinstein, she's liberal.
Oh yeah.
Did you catch her hot mic moment?
No, I did not.
It was nothing really. She was talking about Barrette's religious background. And I think Tucker Carlson picked it up, and it was no bombshell. She's just saying she's probably informed by her beliefs.
Well, we all know that. I mean, how? She said that she's not gonna rule based on her beliefs.
Sure,
but
she said that.
I mean, how? I mean, how do you separate that?
You don't.
You just can't.
You don't. Your whole worldview is shaped by those things. So, yeah, it's not even a stretch. It's just not true that you're not. She's anti-abortion, right? She's probably anti-gay marriage.
I'm sure.
She's probably. I mean, the liberal.
She's pro-football, though.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, where's she?
She went to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Okay.
She's always talking about how how she went to all the games, and where she's gonna, if she's confirmed that she's gonna teach the other justices about football.
Oh, I'm sure they don't know anything about football. Well, they might not. No,
I mean, they don't. I mean, most of them went to Ivy League.
Yeah,
and Ivy League is not well known for football. Notre Dame is. I mean, Notre Dame is. Always been pretty good in football. So
the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that'll be good. I'm sure they'll all enjoy those talks. They're not going to happen, anyways. So So I wonder what her take is on the NFL, the kneeling. I guess it didn't come up, but I'm just curious how she would approach that.
She did not. I don't know if she got that question, but the other day she could not remember the 5 freedoms we have in the First Amendment. She couldn't remember the 5th one.
What are the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment?
Speech, religion, press, assembly, speech, press, religion, assembly. I don't know. What am I missing?
Redress or protest.
Okay.
Symbol of speech. Oh, that's good. Well, that kind of reminds me of the Rick
and
Perry.
The most important one, protest.
Oh, God. That was probably intentional.
Yeah,
she had a Rick Perry moment.
Yeah, she had a Rick Perry moment. I mean, she probably doesn't believe in those things. That's why she couldn't remember it.
I don't know. Is that even is it a trick question? Does it exist? Can I see a constitution? Yeah, there was something about Mike Lee. He held up a constitution, and did you see this?
No.
And it was some kind of weird, annotated constitution by some conspiracy theorist, Mormon. It's very strange.
He's from Utah, right?
He is, yeah. It was, and so it's a weird annotated constitution by this conspiracy theorist, and took a lot of heat for it. His staff said, "Well, he didn't know. He didn't know that's what it was."
I mean, aren't you supposed to find out before you go on the camera and hold it up? Yeah, hold it up.
And it's annotated, so if it's annotated, who's doing it, right? There's no description on the back.
I mean, just like Barrette, she went and spoke to some group that was a far right group, basically. Mm-hmm. I mean, not as a white supremacist, but they were pretty. Yeah. I mean, their ideas are pretty. And this was back when she was getting confirmed for the last job. Oh, I see. The guy from Minnesota, the one that resigned, what's his name?
Al Franken.
Al Franken.
Blackstone is an ADF program. Were you aware of that when you accepted their invitation to speak?
I actually wasn't aware until I received the honorarium and saw the ADF on the check, or maybe when I saw an email and saw the signature line. But yes, ADF is the organization that sponsors the Blackstone.
You weren't aware of it?
Senator Franken, I can't remember exactly when I became aware of it. I was aware of the Blackstone program for some time.
But you were not aware when the gig.
By the time I spoke, I was aware.
He's the one that asked her about that. And he gave her an example that, if he went and spoke to, let's say, Nazi Germany or something, would that be a bad judgment?
Well, yeah. Let me think about that.
Yeah. And she's like, well, if I knew that, I would not have gone. And, well, you're supposed to find out before you go, right?
It's an interesting defense that I hear often. Very often. Well, we didn't know.
Yeah.
What their stance was on anything. So you just go where you're told to go. So you're invited somewhere and you go and you don't follow up. That's interesting. Somebody else did that. The minority whip Republican in the House. What's his name?
Republican?
Steve Scalise. Is that who that is?
Steve Scalise, yeah.
Yeah, he spoke at, I think, a white supremacist organization. He didn't know. He had no idea. Like, oh, well. That's interesting. I mean, you have staff, right? You have aides who look into this stuff.
Yeah, even if you believe in those things, you're not supposed to say that out in public.
Do it under your breath, like
I mean, you're supposed to dress like that in the bathroom. That's it.
And then that's always a weird thing to see. I just can't imagine going somewhere, speaking engagement, and not knowing who I'm speaking to. Right?
I mean, that's the basic homework you're supposed to do. I mean, if you are asked to come and speak at a football game, I mean, you're supposed to know a little bit about football, right?
Just know what teams are playing.
Yeah, at least know where you're going.
This happens sometimes on the campaign trail. They'll forget what state they're in.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable because
funny.
everything, you've been on the road so long, everything starts to look the same.
That's where
where basketball hoops start to look like ring. Just to code Ted Cruz.
The thing is that basketball ring here in Indiana, it's the same height as it is in New York City.
Ring. Well, again, Ivy League. So yeah. What's he gonna know about basketball, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. Yeah, that went in a roundabout way, but yeah. So anyway, back to the early voting. Do you have any more numbers on those? Because I was listening to it this weekend, and it did seem like it was pretty extreme.
I just looked at Colorado, and that was pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, it'll probably be a blowout either way, one way or the other.
I mean, we were looking at Colorado, Arizona, and Georgia.
Yeah.
Because these are the ones that are on potentially gonna flip the Senate and I think
even North Carolina. Is that Tom Tillis?
I think so.
He's in trouble, and his challenger was caught sexting someone who wasn't his wife, and he's still in trouble. So that guy didn't lose he didn't lose any ground even after he was found out.
I think people are immune to the sex thing, and
just like the Europeans have been for decades. I mean, they don't care.
Trump has made that normal.
I mean, it should have been normalized by Bill Clinton, but
yeah.
I'm not going to say normalized, but it shouldn't factor into how you judge policy. And it shouldn't matter.
No.
Unless they're blackmailing you. So that'd be a problem. But other than that, it should matter.
I mean, here's Rudy Giuliani's daughter saying vote for Biden and Harris.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Trump's regime of terror.
Well, she gave an anecdote about her father. They were having a discussion, I think, about same-sex marriage. And she said he attacked her the way you would attack a challenger, like a political opponent, and not like a daughter. So he got pretty hot about that topic. Yeah, it looks like.
Why do these people get triggered about same-sex marriage? I mean, I don't get it.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe if you don't want to, nobody's asking you to get married.
Maybe they're curious, but they're ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It is the weirdest thing, but they'll say it's biblical. A lot of people will say, well, the Bible says this and that, but the reality is you just don't like it. That's the reality. When you grow up in a culture that just tells you it's disgusting, and you that's what you believe, and then you use the Bible to justify your belief. So that's easy enough, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, how do you justify your beliefs unless it's based on 8,000 years?
Oh, the Bible?
Bible is 2,000?
Probably 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing.
I mean, the whole notion is we've been on Earth 8,000 years?
Yeah, I think it's 6,000 to 8,000 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That's not the scientific number, but yeah. No. and the methodology is kind of dubious, the way they come about that 6,000 year number. Some will say, well, each day was 1,000 years. God's day, first day, second day. Who knows? It's all up in the air.
Yeah, it wasn't a day long. It was more like years and centuries or something like that.
It's really whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean it's however you want to understand that.
Well, Yeah, it says early Democrats are the early voting. It's being fueled by Democrats.
I mean, that's where most of the excitement is anyway. I mean, it's more about
Just getting them out.
well, I think it's more about the same. It's vote against Trump basically. They just want to go back to what the normal was, which was
You're not saying
nothing's happening.
They want to
basically.
take their country back.
They want to.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying.
They want to make America do nothing again.
Yeah. Neutral again. I don't know. Same neoliberal policies. Back to war.
Back to wars and hope and change.
Hope and change.
That never came.
Stand before you again tonight, after almost 2 terms as your president, to tell you I am more optimistic.
Yeah, it never was.
There was no hope and change anyway. I mean, there was.
Did you see the video he put out? I think on his podcast, maybe Obama.
No.
He was specifically talking to progressives. He goes, don't be too hard on him. Get out there and push him if you need to. If you're not getting your way, but don't sit out and don't. He's basically blaming progressives for last time, saying that they sat out and they didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because they didn't get their way. He's chastising.
Well, it's always voter shaming,
It has to be, right? It's not because he's the bad candidate.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that you had a candidate that, had no message.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that, but it's the voters' fault that they didn't go and vote. I mean, you didn't give them a reason to vote.
No, not whatsoever. They didn't toe the line, right?
Yeah.
That you're obligated to. You don't have a choice. Yeah. Voting is not a choice. You have to do it for the party. Yeah, and the other one was so Trump is losing voters right now. Surprisingly, he's losing certain number of voters from the suburbs and even some of the rural areas. And the big argument was that I heard this on earlier, but they're all racist, right? They're racist voters, and it's not economic; it's racism, but they're being peeled away back to Joe Biden. He's like gaining back in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania what they lost in 2016. So I'm just saying. Some of them are gettable.
I mean, these are the people that voted for Obama twice. Yeah. These are the same people.
And they basically voted for him again this time.
And they're voting for the same guy again. And they're basically voting for, we want to go back to the way it was. We don't want
normalcy.
I mean, these people are more afraid of what's happening in the country as far as rioting and fighting. They think they're it's basically anarchy. They're thinking,
even though it's very little of it actually going on.
Yeah,
it's but
I mean, most people are still just going about their business.
Yeah,
I mean, they're probably paying attention to politics a little more, but they're more worried about paying their credit card bill or car bill or house
tuition,
note, tuition, healthcare.
Take your pick, especially right now during the pandemic. So
talk about healthcare. I mean, I was talking to this lady the other day, and her husband, has some medical conditions, and he was in a hospital, and not the surgery part, just for the hospital stay, her bill was $150,000. I mean, if it wasn't for her insurance, I mean, you are looking at bankruptcy basically.
Yeah, there's no question about it. There's no other option. She's older.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not going to pay that off. You're going to file bankruptcy and start from scratch.
And, just and surgery would have been and according to her, they didn't fix the problem. Actually, it's gone worse.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about doing another surgery and another one. So so the bills are gonna go up and up and up.
They're not going anywhere. It's unbelievable, and this is unheard of in other countries. The idea of bankruptcy being an option.
Yeah.
It's not even thought of, and it's not.
I mean, 2 weeks stay in a hospital, $150,000.
Yeah.
I mean, even in a 5-star hotel in Donald Trump's golf course, it would not be $150,000.
And probably get better service at Trump's, I would imagine. private room and all that stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, this is insane. I mean,
but this is the system that they defend. So I say they, both sides, defend the system. It's the one they want. It's the best system in the world, right?
well, yeah, I mean, hospitals like it because once you get a person that has insurance, you milk everything out of this one,
That's right.
and then when you get a person that does not have insurance, you use it, those funds on that.
Yeah.
So basically, insured person pays for the uninsured.
That's right. That's always been the case,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to emergency care, it's a big issue. But it's hard to get people to see that there's another option, because they're just mistrustful of the idea of like a universal kind of healthcare, right? Where this is not happening. Where you're not going bankrupt for medical reasons.
Well, this is called free market.
Free market propaganda,
Yeah,
right?
I mean-
massive propaganda.
You have a right to live if only you have money.
That's right. That's right. It's a choice, right? It's a choice. It's always a choice. It is
You
a
can
strange
choose to
argument.
live or die based on your money.
You have access to healthcare.
You have access, yes.
Yeah, it's like we have access to Ferraris. As long as you have enough money, you have access to it, right?
You have access to Bill Gates' house too. You can buy it.
You sure can. Yeah, it's kind of a false narrative, but people hear that and they say, "Oh, I like the idea of choice. I like choice," right? That it's all in the framing. How do you frame the argument? It's about choice. We don't want government mandated healthcare, government run healthcare. We don't. That's scary.
Well, the government cannot do anything right,
No.
according to Dave Rubin.
Yeah, that's right. It's the most inefficient, poorly run. It does nothing right. You're right.
No,
Exactly
I
right.
mean, just look at wars. We go over there and destroy things, and
Maybe that's the idea, though, right? Maybe it's to sow chaos and discord, and it keeps them under control.
yeah.
They can't.
I mean, ever since World War II, we have pretty much lost every war.
Hey, Desert Storm, don't forget. That was our
Yeah,
victory.
Desert Storm. Yeah, that was a little bright spot there.
In the darkness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the budget goes, and you support the troops, right? Or else you're anti-American. Or you have to support every war, every foreign engagement, or else you can't question that.
No, you can't. I mean, it's against your religious beliefs.
It is but again, that's the propaganda as well. And they were very good at that narrative. That
If you come down to it, I mean, it's all about narrative. Republicans are just better.
they're just better at it.
Just better at everything. I mean, just look at, this 9/11, the bill.
Right.
They're, for some reason, they are more, they get the narrative there, that they are for the police, they are for the firefighters, they
Sure.
are for the military. And in reality, when it comes down to it, they're not. I mean, they're the first ones to deny coverage.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
It's too expensive, right?
it's too expensive.
Even though we're printing money left and right, can't afford it. Yeah. It's a strange argument to make, and they get away with it somehow, and probably because the other side doesn't call them out on it.
No, they don't. I mean, they just don't say anything. They just sit there and accept the premise.
Yeah,
You know,
it's too. We can't afford it. We just can't afford it. First responders, right?
first responders, yes.
Can't do it. No, it's a very strange thing that they do that they get away with. It's kind of a sleight of hand, where they'll say one thing to your face, and behind your back they'll take
Yeah.
everything away. I don't know. It's a neat trick.
I mean, look at this second stimulus. I mean, Mitch McConnell is pretty much blocking it by himself,
Yeah.
saying we're not. He doesn't want to do anything for the people,
No.
not even for his state. I mean, his state is one of the poorest state.
And how is he still
I mean,
ahead of the
and
polls?
he's still leading by 14 points.
Doesn't make any sense. I don't understand that, how they that disconnected from what he
Yeah.
does. He's the majority leader in the Senate, for God's sake. He has the power to do.
I mean, if you're leading by 14 points, that means you're doing things correctly, and he's getting that message. I mean, he's saying, why should I do something when I'm still winning?
Yeah, the formula works.
Yeah.
The recipe works.
Yeah.
I think he did want to offer like skinny bill, a $500 billion targeted kind of a bill. That's not going to fly, and he knows it's not going to fly.
I mean, that's what they want to do is pass a bunch of small bills.
Yeah.
So if you don't spend that money, they can take that money and divert it towards something else.
Yeah.
Easily.
I know. That's exactly right. And what's weird also is that the hearings come first, right, before the COVID relief.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And apparently he believed that his state cared more about that than relief, which is odd because what she's going to vote on has nothing to do with these people. Really, nothing at all.
No.
I mean, they wanted to vote on certain things, abortion, gay rights, or who knows what else, but they're still going to be
it's
suffering.
social issues.
It's not going to affect them at all. So very weird. Now, Trump did come out and say he wanted more money offered than the $1.8 trillion that Mnuchin offered earlier. So he wants probably what Pelosi wants, $2.1 trillion, whatever. McConnell's not going to sign that. They're not gonna,
White House is they want a big bill.
Yeah.
Because he wants to send out his check again with his name on it.
It's not ideological.
No, it's
just,
not.
Otherwise, he wants that win.
Yeah.
And she's not going to give it to him. Apparently, McConnell's not either, which is weird. I don't know. Maybe he sees.
McConnell doesn't want to do anything.
No.
I mean, he wants to do somewhere around 500 for the businesses. He doesn't want to do anything to do with the sending a check to people,
Direct payments,
or for unemployment, or first responders. I mean, or hospitals.
He acts like it's his money.
Yeah.
It's coming out of his pocket, right?
I mean, they're talking about, it's deficit. Well, what about the deficit, the $2 trillion you gave to rich?
Well, no, we can't give it to the middle class
and
poor. Sorry. There's no more. There's none left. It's done. Yeah, it just seems like a Trump win would help the Senate, right? It would seem like it would help his own people if he were to get a victory like this. But maybe they don't think that's the case. I don't know. I don't know what the calculation is there.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, Republican voters, if you look at them, they're voting against their own interest. I mean, if you break down economic-wise, I mean, individually, it's, if you are making on a less than $300,000-$400,000, their policies are not helping you. I mean, it's just
they're not.
It's just not. I mean, you still end up paying most of the taxes, percentage-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, most of your income goes towards taxes. It's property taxes, sales tax, taxes and fees. You pay taxes in your phone bill. You pay taxes in your internet, cable bill. You pay taxes in all sorts of things.
You sure do.
Yeah.
Unless you're Trump, and then you pay $750.
Yeah. And you pay income tax. You pay Social Security, Medicare.
Yeah.
So I mean, all those taxes, percentage-wise, they pay a higher percentage than the rich, but they keep on voting for these Republicans for some reason.
Trickle down economics.
Yeah.
It'll get to that eventually. Once the rich have their fill, it'll trickle down.
Yeah, I mean, it's the dream of becoming a billionaire, one day. If I only work hard enough. Only if I work hard enough,
Then you should want to pay taxes. If you have the money, if you're that rich, you should want to give back. That's like, that's like civic duty, right? It's living in a civil society. It runs. That's how it runs. That's how it functions. That's how it's funded.
Well, there's a disconnect there. That's the thing. I mean, they just don't see the benefit there.
It's too many steps removed.
Yeah.
You need to break it down and simplify it, right?
I mean, they see a billionaire, but they don't see how he got there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that he pulled himself by the bootstraps. I mean, he having a discussion about Bill Gates the other day, and he's like, well, he had an idea. Yeah, he had an idea, but where did he get that idea? I mean, it was his parents that bought him a computer, which cost $6,000 at that time. I mean, which is insane money at that time. 6,000. I mean, I don't know what the inflated adjuster would be. You would, somewhere around $60,000 maybe.
It's obscene. Yeah, it'd be obscene.
So his parents were able to buy him a computer where he learned
coding
and all that stuff.
Privileged
Build his
family.
interest.
Yeah.
I mean, so they said, well, he had an idea and he was able to do these things. Yeah, but how did that happen? I mean,
what are the steps that led to that?
I mean, nobody's independent of government. I mean, if you think, I can do it myself, but no, you're not. I mean, you just not separated from these things.
I mean, you will need those protections.
Yeah.
First of all, if nothing else.
Yeah.
that they provide. So if you want to have a brick and mortar business, you got to have regulations to make sure it's built safely. Not going to kill your customers.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that go into it.
I mean, have safe roads so that your customers can travel on.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to build your own roads to come to your store.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
I mean, as our Starbucks CEO said, I'll get this job done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you took public water system for 10 cents a gallon, and you sold it for $30 a gallon.
Hey, capitalism. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but that's just an analogy there. But
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to educate people or have a better education of how the government does what it does. Not that it's the answer to everything, right? But that it has a role to play.
No, I mean, I'm all for capitalism. I mean, if you build something, you should be able to enjoy the fruits of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but you have to acknowledge that you didn't get there by yourself. I mean, there's nobody, gets where they are by themselves. It just doesn't happen.
It's like they popped into existence with all their ideas and, they were already formed. It's just not reality. Just not. They probably went to public schools, There's so many ways that, they've been helped along the way, but they forget all that.
Yeah.
Some of these people do anyway. And a lot of voters do too. They forget. I mean, there's a role for government. And that's always the question, right? What is the proper role? How much influence should it have? Well, we could discuss that. I think that's a fair argument, conversation to have.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, it's just, government should be limited. Yeah, I mean, we understand that.
Yep.
Government should not run private businesses. We all agree. But there are certain things that government has a role to play, just like, they're doing it right now. Military, police, firefighter. Nobody comes and asks, hey, I want to privatize police. I mean, they don't say that because they can't afford it.
Nope, they can't afford it. It's just, I don't know. It's an inconsistent kind of an argument, but I don't know.
I mean, even the rich people want poor people to pay for the police.
They do.
And most of the poor people ended up paying for it anyway by, they're the one that gets ticketed the most for broken taillights or having a loud muffler.
Yep. That's
or the windshield cracked or something like
Take
that.
your pick.
Yeah, I mean, and they're the one that get ticketed, and
the most vulnerable ones get ticketed for the most. Well, it's to be expected.
I mean, you get a speeding ticket, you end up paying for it. Rich people, they can hire a lawyer and not pay for anything.
Sounds like you're attacking rich people. Is this a war on rich people?
I don't know. I'm a friend of rich people.
It sure sounds like it. Well, we're just looking at the broader picture. That's all. You have to, right? It's in context. Again, it's okay to make as much as you want to make.
I have no problem with that.
Pay your fair share.
Yeah,
and you don't stash money overseas.
You don't get to do that.
No, do that. $2 trillion is sitting there.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way to do it, I guess. Yeah, that's just like you don't have a sense of, again, your civic duty to give back. But
yeah, if you make money by the protection of this country, you should pay your bill when it comes to it. That's the bill you it's just like you go to a restaurant, you eat a nice meal. At the end of it, they don't send it to somebody else.
You don't dine and ditch. You don't do that. Unless you're a teenager, but that's different.
Yeah.
That seems common sense, right? Like a common sense thing to say, but businesses don't do that.
No.
I mean, you have tax havens, tax avoidance. I mean, they're very clever in getting away with it. Amazon, 0 in federal taxes. Okay. Perfectly legal.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it.
These are the loopholes
legally
that their representative have created for them. I mean, this is the kind of influence they buy with their money.
And this is one of the things that people never really understand is how much influence corporations have, or people like Jeff Bezos, just individuals with that kind of influence. So they see you attacking these things and they say, well, you're jealous.
Yeah.
You're jealous of rich people. Well, no. The system is being paid for. It's being bought by these people. We just want them to have less influence over the process, that's all. That's what I would like. It's my goal.
Well, that's the goal, but
money out of politics.
How do you do that? That's the thing.
Citizens United didn't help, obviously. So you need to pass legislation, aggressive legislation.
I mean, even if you pass regulation, I mean, they're gonna sue you and take you to Supreme Court, and where people like Alito and Gorsuch are sitting, I mean, they're gonna say, hey, businesses have more rights than you. Businesses are people.
Mitt Romney, 2012.
Yeah.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Yeah.
So then we come down to the nuclear option of expanding the courts.
Yeah.
You have to get liberal justices who don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I'm sure a lot of people don't see it that way. When you talk to people individually, they're not going to think that corporations are human beings, that they're persons. It's a very weird legal distinction that was just created really out of thin air. So I think there's a consensus.
I mean, then again, I mean, it's just a understanding of the laws. I mean, laws are just words on paper unless, the way you understand them and the way you.
They're codified and then they're ruled on by courts.
Yeah.
And they're legitimized, right? Yeah. And now they are.
Just to quote Bill Clinton, what's the meaning of is?
Depends on what your meaning of is.
Yeah.
Clever guy, huh?
Yeah, so we're still trying to find out what the meaning of is.
All these years later, right? Well, almost 30 years. When was it? I don't know how long ago it was. What year was that?
That was, I want to say 97, 98.
Okay. So
the only reason I remember that is because that's the year I got married. So.
Okay. So both very, very tragic events, huh?
Yeah,
no, of course not.
And that was the biggest news on TV at that time,
and it really shouldn't have been.
No.
If we're being honest, I mean, how much bearing does that actually have? I mean, she's an intern, right? I mean, what in the world does that have to do with politics, or what, or how he can, I can fulfill his role as president? I don't know. It's a moral issue.
I think it was jealousy on the part of Republicans. They were jealous.
Yeah, it was probably jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Kennedy with his, and that Clinton. It just wasn't fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. They want their chance too. Well, I mean, Newt Gingrich got his chance. Remember that?
Yeah. Newt Gingrich, Giuliani.
Yeah. Gingrich
and
had to
these
step
are the
down.
people that were doing the same thing at the same time.
Exactly, that's my point.
And they were criticizing it.
Yes, that's right. So Gingrich had to step down from speaker because of his proclivities.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Didn't he divorce his wife?
I think she was sick also.
She was sick and he divorced her?
Yeah.
I mean, what an ass.
Yeah, what an ass. Real moral courage, right?
And these are the people that are considered moral.
Yeah.
and family values. I mean, how is that? How
Because
does that happen,
you
man?
keep a straight face when you do it,
Yeah.
and you never back down, no matter how horrible you look, and you know
Yeah.
you look bad. Doesn't matter.
I mean, they criticize a black man for wearing a tan suit,
Suit, yeah.
but the other guy was better.
I think that was better.
And this guy
Cheated
that
on every wife.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has what, 3 wives?
Yeah.
He's on his 3rd wife, and
On his third
this
wife.
guy is better at
Morally.
family values, more moral.
He has
than-
kids with 3
Yeah.
different wives. Cheated with a porn star. Paid her
Yeah.
off.
Paid it off.
Covered it up. I mean, this is.
And we have another guy on the other hand that's, still with the same woman that he, met. I don't know if that's the
20
first
some odd
one.
years.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
Family
he was
man.
considered a Nazi and socialist.
And atheist,
Atheist.
Islamicist. I mean, take your pick. I mean, there was so many things thrown at him to see what would stick, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no weird sex scandals under his presidency.
I mean,
nothing-
none of his people went to jail.
No, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is probably the most corrupt administration in history, I would imagine. The Trump.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
I mean, so many people have ended up in jail.
I mean, who's the second one? Reagan? I mean, I don't know. He had a few.
Reagan's second administration was pretty bad. So I mean, yeah, there were a lot of people that ended up in jail in his administration. So,
Then you have-
but he's considered more moral
Yeah.
than Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure. So, I don't know. It seems there's a lot of that kind of scandal on that side. Richard Nixon. Just saying, there's a lot of that kind of extreme scandal. But either way,
Yeah, I mean, they consider Carter as a neoliberal or something, and he's not. I mean, he was pretty down the middle. Maybe maybe a little bit on the left side.
But evangelical. He's a
Yeah.
pastor, isn't he?
Yeah, he was a pastor. So
No, he did support Eastern Timor. Let's not forget that.
well, yeah. I mean,
That kind of genocide.
If you look it through the microscope, you can put
A lot of them in
a
jail.
lot of them in jail. East Timor, yeah. I mean, that was didn't he support Indonesia on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Send him Israeli planes. I think he got help from them from Israel to send what is that plane called? Airhawk or something?
Is it the Airhawk?
I don't know. It's one of those. He got Israel to send some planes so they can help Indonesia over there.
We'll add that in
Help
the
them
video
bomb. Yeah,
later. We'll put a link in the description, right?
yeah.
Yeah, there was a few things that that he did, but this is the way politics works. I mean, Reagan supported his fair share of horrible regimes as well. Apartheid, South Africa, Contras, Nicaragua. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
these are the people considered as freedom-loving people.
yes, freedom.
It's
freedom for the ones who support us. Anyway, everybody else can just go to hell. But yeah,
you're free as long as you support us.
I think even Carter did comment on the Venezuelan elections too, didn't he? He made a comment something like they were the freest elections he'd ever seen or something. Did you ever see that comment?
I
did
remember seeing that. I don't remember exactly what he said.
I think that's what he said. They're the freest elections that he'd ever seen. I'm like, interesting. Okay, I don't know much about him, but
Well, even if they were not free, there were elections happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if the elections happen and these are the results they have, I mean, you accept it.
that's it.
And you go just like the things that happened here, Al Gore and Bush, Trump, Clinton. I mean,
Trump,
obviously Al Gore won
yeah,
and Clinton won, but the other guy was elected. So, I mean, and that's the same thing goes in other countries. How can we, say, oh, this one is not legitimate. We're not gonna accept this
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and we're gonna accept the guy that's nobody voted on.
Mhm.
What's his name? Guaido.
Yeah, Guaido, I think. Yeah.
Guaido. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, we decide. Not
Yeah.
you. Not you. We know what's best. You don't know. We've been at this a long time. All right. We pick winners, which they never are.
No.
They never are. And it's the same policies. They want to enforce those same neoliberal policies on everyone else, and we see what happens. Again, that goes back to immigration, but that's another conversation we'll have next time probably.
Yeah.
But how those policies affect immigration to the U.S.
These are the policies. I guess we need to talk about.
Yeah.
These are the policies that affect the immigration policy in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, foreign policy has a big effect on us.
Yeah.
One way or the other. So it needs to be addressed, and people just need to pay attention, I suppose, a little more than they do. And they want the easy answer, right? It's always the easy, but it's actually pretty complicated. A lot of it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look a little bit deeper than just the surface. Build a wall.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can build a wall. I mean, it'll solve